Okay, starting live stream. Okay, looks like we're getting somewhere. We're gonna give a few minutes for people to join in.
I'm gonna tell people what I recommend them to do, even though the sound's gonna be way off. Or is it? No, what? Yeah, no. It says, I'm thinking this is what it looks like live, but there's like a 10-15 second delay. So.
Okay. I was wondering why it wasn't coming up. Because I'm on.
Welcome everybody, BrainStorming Podcast.
Welcome. I'm Brian McFadden.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's your show. You gotta do.
I'm trying to see why it's not coming up on the.
I'm Nick Tesla. Welcome to the first ever live brainstorming. It doesn't tell me how many listeners we got here, Brian. So it says I can chat with people though. Feels lonely in here. Being the first to send a message. So apparently it's pretty lonely in the Spreaker chat. So if anybody wants to check us out on Spreaker, it says that we're sharing it to Facebook and YouTube and all that goodness. Let's see what we got here. I don't know why I was getting feedback there, but hopefully there's no more feedback. Hopefully everybody can hear us fine. Let's see, Brian. Let's see. Are we live on Where We Lied To right now?
We're supposed to be.
Are you live on Where We Lied To, or are we both live? Me with my Spreaker and you with your phone. Are we both live? Let's see. Here we go. What to watch next? Something's coming up. A live video from 1 hour ago, 15
Yeah,
minutes.
that's what's kind of messing me up right now is we're not showing as live on YouTube.
Come on.
What's going on? Make sure that we're signed in.
Hold on, let's check.
Okay, he says we have a buffer and it's good now. Thank you, Bernie Trump. Share the stream.
Alright, so, okay. It says we're streaming live. It tells me I'm offline.
Share it to as many people as you can. We're getting coming soon.
Brainstorming live, I see it here.
Yeah.
Brian with his Brainstorming live. Oh, stream status bad. 360p stream. You suck. No, we suck. Live control room. I want to go to the live control room. This is also new for us, so we're stumbling through it. Like a toddler on his first pinata. He doesn't know what the hell to do.
That's an interesting
Yeah, it is.
comparison to use.
It is, right? It is. Where we like to live stream? Nothing. Okay. So there's nothing here. It's just like my dashboard. But then Brainstorming Live's popping up. So we're here Brainstorming Live. But if you also want to catch us, you can go and get a little more. You can get the instant feed on Spreaker. I believe Spreaker's probably a couple seconds ahead. If anybody wants to go and check for us, that would be a kind favor. I know nobody really cares that much because we're here to talk about important stuff, right, Brian? The world's going to. I don't even like saying the world's going to shit anymore because
It's already there?
It's too nihilistic. No, it's too or nihilistic, whatever the word is. It's too depressing to say the world is going to shit because no matter what, it's going to shit. I don't know. I got into it with some Trump supporters yesterday, and they were former Ron Paul supporters, and I got pissed, Brian. I got pissed at these people.
And why did you get pissed at them then?
I didn't get pissed. Like, if anybody knows me, it's hard for me to really, really honestly get pissed. But I didn't, I don't know, I didn't really get pissed at the people so much as I kind of told them it's all a joke. And they're under the belief of, well, at this point, you gotta vote for Trump. Because if you don't, Hillary's gonna win. And no matter what, we can't have Hillary as the president. And in my mind, I'm saying, this is just my personal opinion. But fuck, Trump's just as bad. Yeah, what are you looking at? You want to see it live? I didn't pull it up live.
I'm on here and not finding it. It's not coming up on my.
If you gotta go to live streaming under the dashboard. You get to the dashboard where it says dashboard on the left hand side, video manager, all that shit. Live stream, and then you find it. Hey, there we go. Public view. Let's see what we're looking like. It's dark. Oh, no.
Hey.
Look at you. Yeah, oh man, that's just creepy. It's like deja vu. Anyway, hey, it's nice to see we got the little WWL2 logo down there.
Do we
That's
not?
nice, and I think people can even hover over it and subscribe to our channel. So if you can, hover over that sumbitch and subscribe to our channel. We're at 1,500 right now. Probably a good 800 or 900 of them are from different kind of videos that have nothing to do with waking yourself up. They're just a little more on the entertaining side. But hey, subscribe. You can find it, dude. Open live chat in a new window. That's what I want to hear. Because I want to know what you some bitches are saying. There are currently no moderators. Well, I'm a moderator. Can I be a moderator?
You can, yes. We can actually designate moderators.
Live 2, right? Add moderator. Add me. Okay, got it. Okay, there are currently no moderators, so I guess anything goes, right?
We can't be having that now, can we?
Alright, Bernie Trump, come on, bring it on. We only got 40 minutes on Spreaker. We'll probably go longer, obviously.
Yeah, we're going to go longer on YouTube, probably.
We might even
I
come
think
back
I have an
to
hour on YouTube before I have to restart the stream.
I got to restart the stream in 45 minutes on Spreaker, so we're at, we got 35 minutes left. We've bullshitted here for 10 minutes. I've already set it to explicit, so feel free to curse your balls off. Maybe we'll go for like a 5-10 minute spurt where we don't curse, Brian.
Yo, we are grown-ups here. We are grown-ups here. We freaking curse. And I just said freaking instead of fucking, but, you know.
Brian. Yeah, I can't stand people that say freaking. I can't stand people that say, my butt. Yeah,
what?
Slapped my butt. Like, what? Hey, guys. Hey, whom it may. Yeah, whom it may. It sounds like a pretty cool YouTube channel. Should I check you out right now and tell you what's going on? Ew, Boss Cat, what's going on?
Got some people up in here, do we?
Yeah. So what's going on? I gotta get my notes, Brian, because if we're gonna talk, we gotta talk turkey, son. We gotta talk turkey.
We gotta talk turkey. We gotta talk Germany.
Am I looking all right? I didn't even think about how I was looking, but you know what? I'm Nick Tesla. I'm always looking all right.
Don't tread on me.
Don't tread on
But
me.
yeah, we gotta talk Germany. We gotta talk Turkey. We gotta talk some Pokemon. We gotta talk some.
I meant like talk turkey, like with the saying, let's talk turkey, you know what I'm saying? Not like talk about the coup in Turkey. But then again, let's talk about the coup in Turkey, Brian. Some shit going on. Some shit going on. That's
some shit. That's a lot going on.
Are you under the belief
the
that's
military
a false flag?
I am.
A false
I'm
flag?
50-50.
Military takeover?
I'm thinking it could be or maybe not.
To give
more and more, I'm thinking it is. I'm thinking it's Erdogan or Edragon, however you pronounce his name.
Doesn't sound like the dragon.
I apologize. I can't
Remember that
pronounce your
movie?
name.
Remember that movie? What was it? Aragon or something? The dragon movie? That's all I can think of. Every time I hear this guy's name, I'm like, this guy's a dragon, isn't he? He's really secretly a reptilian shapeshifter or a dragon.
People.
Yeah, I'm serious. So, I don't know, Brian.
I'm starting more and more to think that it was a false flag just for him to obtain more power.
I don't know. I honestly want some Turkish people's opinion on this. So if there's any Turkish people out there that end up stumbling across this video, because I'm sure it'll end up being watchable after this, definitely the Spreaker video will be watchable, because I don't believe it's up live now. So once we're done, it'll go live. I'd like to hear with some Turkish people, because we have a large Turkish population here in the South Jersey area, especially this area directly across from Philly. And I'd like to hear what some Turkish people got to say about it. Some Turkish Americans who immigrated over here maybe 5 or 10 years ago or 20 years ago or something, but like they left turmoil at one point, and how do they look at this now that they've been removed from it 10, 20 years? But yet they probably almost always still have family over there. You know, family's very important to them, and even like a cousin is somebody they'll talk to once a week or something, or once every couple of weeks. Where it's like we may not talk to a cousin for 6 months to 6 years. You know, us Americans, we can be kind of antisocial even to our family. So, I don't know, Brian. Anything else? You said Turkey. What else?
Germany.
Germany. Alright, so hold on. What's up with all these Anglo-Saxon countries and us giving a damn about all of them? The Brexit, okay. Germany. Russia, we're worried about Russia. Even China and India, even though India I wouldn't call an Anglo-Saxon country. What about Africa? What about Africa, my man?
That's not an Anglo-Saxon country.
I didn't say it was. Sudan. The people of Sudan are fleeing Sudan. Refugees by the thousands are showing up at the border of Uganda, I believe. Right? Is it Uganda? I got it written down here.
They're showing up at the border of...
It's definitely not Hotel Rwanda.
Oh, it's not? No, it's not.
Uganda, yeah. They're showing up at the what do you call it, border to Uganda, and guess who it is? Boko Haram. That's who they're scared of.
I haven't heard that name in a while.
Haven't heard that name in a while, but how come we don't hear that name? And they commit such atrocities, and maybe not on the same, I guess, war scale or on the same with the same tone of war, and maybe it's not in the theater of war either. But they still do such sick things, such like human rights violations. How come we're not out there like, yo, let's do something about this? Let's do something about Boko Haram. Is it because there's already a underlying racial issue in this country, and the government, the high up government that's ran by maybe 75% old white men, don't want to go attack a bunch of black people, because then the black people may turn against them. The black people in this country may turn against them. Maybe that's a risky thought. Maybe that's a little out of left field or too far out into left field. I don't know.
I think you might be a little far out with that one.
I'm just saying, how come we don't go after Boko Haram? That's what I want to know.
I think it has something to do with our president.
Or does it have something to do with the UN? Wouldn't that be the UN's spot to step in? Thank God they haven't. Or maybe they have, and that's why it continues to go on. Hasn't the UN stepped in? I'm sure they have. Human rights violations? The UN has a Human Rights Council, don't they? Or a Human Rights Committee?
They do, but there's no guarantee that that's what their actual purpose really is.
All right, Brian, I'm going to cheat a little bit here, okay?
Uh-oh.
This isn't really cheating. This is cheating myself. I had some notes written down for 3NN for tomorrow, but I wanted to touch on a couple of them because it's some really important stuff for what's going on in the world these days.
Okay.
These last few days.
Well, let's hear what you got.
Let's check the comments before I begin.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure why I can't see any of the chat.
I got the chat, motherfucker. Alright. Can we get more audio? More cowbell. More cowbell. That's what they want. If you want to get more audio. If you want more audio, whom it may concern, go to just go to Google and type in Spreaker Nick Tesla, and you will find the channel.
The Spreaker link.
And you'll be able to find us live. We're live on Spreaker right now. If you want to hear better audio, you can just mute the YouTube audio and then go to the Spreaker, play that, and then come back and watch the video with the delay. But hey, it's better than not hearing us too well on the phone.
Yeah, our technology is kind of limited at the moment, but we'll be improving drastically in the coming weeks.
We're like a Model T. We're hoping to get to like a 1970s Ford F-150.
Yeah, for real, why can't I see the chat?
Do you need me to come over and show you how to see the chat?
Yeah, would you please? Because I have a blank chat.
I'm like what do you call it? Like an evil villain right here, petting my cat. I feel like the Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, the other cat. For people who are watching Nick pet his cat, the other cat just came out of the other room, looked at Nick petting this cat, and got pissed and walked away.
Oh, come on, man. You got to tell me. You got to alert me to this kind of shit. I'm walking a fine line here with these two. I'm trying to keep them both happy. I know, I sound like such a pussy. I sound like a crazy cat lady already. And I'm only 31. And I'm not even a lady. And I'm not even crazy yet. Or am I? Alright. Can we get more audio? So I told you, go check out Spreaker. Alright.
We'll try to talk a little louder so the mic can hear us, but...
what do you call it? Same journalist at Nice was there at this new event.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I like saying nice because it reminds me that it wasn't a very nice thing to do.
Yes, can you take 2 seconds and come give me chat here? So I can talk to the peoples? Because I'm familiar with some of these people from other channels.
Alright, go down.
Where am I going down?
Keep going. Oh, you're watching it like... Hold up, go up.
I'm on live dashboard.
Go to BrainStorming Live. How are you on the Were We Live to...
That's a good question. That's what it put me on.
Oh, BrainStorming Live. We are streaming live, folks, motherfucker. I don't know how we can get them the link. We are streaming live on YouTube through Spreaker. So go find that video. What am I talking about? Go find Spreaker. Spreaker.com, blah, blah, blah. No. Go and just look for our other, it's just called BrainStorming Live. You'll be able to find it. It's pretty easy to find. It's our other live video we got going right now.
Open live chat in a new window? Is that
and it's just audio.
Yeah, so there we go.
So So y'all always listen to that. Can we get more audio? Do you need more audio on this, on the Spreaker channel? Because I was pretty sure we were sounding okay. I can definitely turn us up on here. Let me know. Or we weren't talking close to the mic. Brian?
They destabilize these
okay,
countries, and it prompts these mass exoduses or refugees that slowly destabilize other countries. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what they do.
I'll let you know how I'm sounding.
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, okay, Brian, you take the wheel.
Well, do you have anything else to say about the apparent
Hotel
false
Rwanda?
flag? No, not Hotel
nice.
Rwanda. The apparent false flag in
No, I just
Turkey.
I think it's probably a little too early to really call it a false flag.
That's why I'm saying apparent false flag.
Well, even to call it an apparent false flag, it's like, I don't know. I haven't personally looked at the evidence, so I can't call it a false flag. But I haven't looked at all the evidence. I just know what happened. That's one of the things that's happened that I haven't looked deep into, because when I started to look into it, I find people saying that it was a false flag, but not it was a false flag because we had this legitimate evidence that there was a drill going on that day, or some sort of announcement or this or that. No, it's a false flag because these people that they say were killed were actually killed in another terrorist attack and this and that. And it's like the Dallas cold bug syndrome that it bothers me, because I don't like Dallas cold bug and none does. I can hear myself better now. Do we need more volume?
They cannot hear you at all right now because you're whispering into the microphone.
I'm not whispering now.
Dude.
I'm talking much lower than you. Alright.
Yes, because they can't hear, so I'm talking loud.
Oh, that's why you couldn't see the chat, because, no, I got the chat.
I have it up now. I have it up now.
What the frick? This is blowing my mind. This is putting them both together? Because when I go to BrainStorming Live, right, and I go all the way down to the bottom, it says public view, and it has the picture of me and you sitting right here. So is it putting it together? If YouTube is that smart, I don't know.
Maybe it is.
I don't think it. You know what?
Well, either way, we're streaming through the phone on Emoze. We're streaming through Spreaker, so there you go.
Yeah, and we're totally off topic. All right, Brian, ready? Here's some important stuff that's going on.
Now, are we still on Turkey, or are we moving on?
I think we're going to move on to stuffing, or
because
at the very least, cranberry sauce, because we're not sticking on turkey.
Because there was a shooting situation in Germany.
I don't need to be taking a nap in a half an hour, okay? So let's move on from turkey. Do you want to tell me about the shooting in Germany, Brian? Tell the audience.
All you really need to know is there was basically two. They said the story changed with the amount of shooters. I think it ended up being something like 2 different shooters, and they think they caught one, and there might be 2 more at large. It was very, very similar to the Dallas situation.
Okay.
So it was basically the same story as Dallas, just in another country.
Okay. Anything from Bernie Trump? Bernie Trump.
Bernie, you got anything on Germany?
Bernie Trump. Bernie Trump's going to take him like 10 seconds to get this. I
Yeah.
think it's matching us up.
Yeah, we're on that delay.
I don't know if there's a delay. I don't know what the deal is. I have no idea what YouTube is putting out there right now, but I like it. All right.
Nice.
I was totally zoned out when you were talking about Germany. What was the conclusion?
The conclusion was it's an exact mirror of Dallas, so I believe it was staged.
I thought the nice thing was, or Nice, sorry. It's not spelled Nice, though. It's not Nice, like your
foreign
your
accent.
nephew in Nice.
We're talking foreign accent.
Alright. Okay, well, I thought that was a truck bomb that exploded.
That was Nice, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were talking about.
No.
Oh, no, Germany. You're talking about Germany.
I'm talking about Germany.
Okay. Yeah, okay. What is your reasoning for thinking it's a false flag?
Because it's a direct mirror of Dallas. One shooter in custody, possibly 2 more at large. And Bernie Trump agrees.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess that could be. It's scary to think that it could be. And what would be the reason for doing that? And did anybody really die? Just like I said before, is there people out there that are like, yo, that was my cousin.
that fucking died at Nice, and you're saying this shit? That's fucked up. Fuck you, dude. I'll never listen to anything you got again.
If someone's listening who lost somebody in the Germany shooting, we apologize for being so insensitive to you.
Our customers who buy our... I agree to what? Hold up. The Bernie Trump perspective said, I agree. But while we're talking, that could mean anything, because he could be watching from 30 seconds ago and be agreeing with some nonsense.
I was on Germany for a while.
Yeah, you were. I was there.
I believe he's agreeing with Germany.
If you can give us a little more clarity on what you agree with there, Bernie Trump. I'm not asking you to agree with me. I just that could have meant I agree with anything. We can touch on 10 different things in like a 30-second span. So.
No, Nick will touch on 10 different things in a 30-second span. I try to roll him back into what we're talking
Get this guy started on wrestling, and he'll touch on 15 to 20 different subjects in a 30-second span.
It was staged.
It was staged.
That's what Bernie Trump says. It was staged.
It was staged. He agrees.
And just about everyone else I've talked to says it was staged. So,
maybe it was. But you always got to leave the door.
But look at it this way: so you had Turkey, you had Germany, you have all these things going on in Europe. Nobody's really talking about the UK wanting out of the EU anymore, are they? All these other countries, they were starting to talk about all these other countries that wanted out. You don't hear that now, do you?
Well, it seems like...
No, the story, they have something new to talk about, so we're not going to tell the people about what's going on with the EU.
It seems like there's unrest around the country and around the world that's spreading, and it's almost like there's, from what you're saying, there's certain entities, either governmental or above governmental or shadow governmental, that are trying to basically stir the pot more and more and more. And literally incite global chaos. Not just chaos in the United States, you know. Summer of chaos, like people think of, damn, the U.S. is fucked up right now. That's crazy. This is a crazy-ass summer. One of the craziest I can ever remember in my lifetime. Well, no. There's people trying to push this on a global scale. What's the grand scheme here? Is it FEMA camps? Because FEMA camps is also like an American, I don't want to say a fantasy, but because they're definitely out there and they definitely exist. Is it an American-born thing? Is it an American-born idea, the FEMA camp?
Well, I think FEMA is an American-born thing.
Well, of course that is, but I mean, is there UN camps set up around the world that we don't even really know about? Just in America, we're so freedom-loving. We find some shit like that, and we're like, we need to expose that. Second Amendment, son. Trying to take our guns.
Well, the UN is probably set up in every UN country. They might not. The people of those countries may or may not know it, but I assume it's in all the UN member countries.
Speaking of, within the last week, the Pentagon approves UN use of force against civilians. Okay?
Yes.
Did you hear about this?
Yes, I did.
29 countries, including the U.S., so there's 28 plus the U.S., signed a UN pledge to allow UN peacekeepers to handle situations of civil unrest and to use force against civilians of said countries. Listen to this.
What that basically means is...
That means peacekeepers, son. That means
UN peacekeepers are now legally allowed to come police our streets.
Next Ferguson,
that's what that means.
Next Ferguson, next Baltimore, get ready. Because UN's showing
next
up.
week, well, I should say this week coming up, starting in 2 days, the DNC in Philly. The RNC was quiet. There wasn't really any riots and a lot of shit going down there as much as people expected. I think, like, Black Lives Matter didn't have, a big presence there. None of these protest groups that people are aware of. I think they're saving it up for Philly, because it's already been friggin' rigged for Hillary Clinton to get in the fucking White House.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a weird feeling DNC's going to go off almost smoother than the RNC did, which the RNC didn't go off that.
I don't know. I highly doubt that, because Joe Biggs is already on his way to Philly. He's probably here now. So anywhere Joe Biggs shows up, he seems to get there a few days before shit pops off. You know what I mean?
I don't know all that there, Brian. Screw Joe Biggs.
He was in Philly the night before the Villanova thing. Before they won the championship. He was there live streaming. They were stealing
Yeah, but it's not
Eric's,
like Joe
they were
Biggs
stealing
is-
Eric M's live stream off of Dabu's
the
channel
way you're
and
making
putting
it
the
sound
InfoWars
is
logo
that
on.
Joe Biggs is basically like some wizard that's inciting like riots and inciting violence in people.
By the way, I'm doing a future episode.
Alex
I don't know.
Jones.
I
yeah.
don't know if it's going to be brainstorming or 3NN, but in the coming weeks, I'm doing an episode on why I highly believe InfoWars Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs is actually a planted and controlled agent.
All right. Before we
And
get
there's a
in-
lot of compelling evidence to that.
Before we get into Alex Jones and Cenk Uygur. And
Well,
the young
before that,
kids.
you got to talk about the day before. Alex Jones said some guy outside punched him in the face, and from what I hear from people that were there, shout out to Dabu and Be Rich, if they ever watch this. From what I understand, it was just guy like bumped into Alex Jones, and Alex Jones turned around and like, boom, threw all his weight into the guy. And that was that. Like, there was no punch thrown. But Alex Jones went on an immediate live stream talking about, I just got punched in the face by this guy, and da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah, I'm disgusted with Alex Jones at the moment. I'm literally disgusted. But hold on, let me get back to the UN peacekeepers, Brian, because this is what UN peacekeepers on the streets of the United States, I'm not going to say could lead to, because we have our Second Amendment rights, and we got so many people that got guns, and some people with even stockpiles of guns, so they can hand them out if all of a sudden shit gets serious, and they're like, yo, we got to band together. But listen to this, all right? Rwanda, and this is all Africa, so it's like, could that really happen here? Well, no, it wouldn't happen in that fashion, but imagine if shortly before that, there was a ban on guns, and a lot of people got on board, and it was kind of a socially accepted thing for 90% of the people believe that it's okay to turn in their guns. You know what I'm saying? There's been enough shootings. Now all of a sudden, a class trip of 33 second graders were all murdered, and it was all caught on camera. And it was this group of thugs who had a bunch of guns, and they were 14 or 15-year-old kids who had guns, and it was in the hood, and this and that. I know it's kind of a weird scenario to plot out. But imagine if 20 or 30 second graders were gunned down and it was caught on camera and everybody's seen this video of 30 kids dying, like right there. And we got HD cameras now, even on our cell phones. So it's like you could catch that in like vivid detail that no movie could show you something that grotesque or that like horrible. You know what I'm saying? And the whole entire country seeing something like that and being pushed and almost motivated. And the government just in lockstep wanting to pass legislation and bringing up legislation and Obama bringing up an executive order if he has
Right
to
before
ban guns. And also people are like, you know what? I don't want my gun ending up being used to kill 22 children or 20 to 30 second grade children. So you know what? I'm going to turn in my gun because it's the right thing to do.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm scared.
I don't think a lot of people will jump to do that because right before the
I'm
UN,
saying the right scenario.
right before the UN thing, Obama signed an executive order allowing the National Guard to police U.S. streets.
All right, Brian, this is the executive order you're talking about. It's executive order allowing for the use of force against American citizens in an emergency. And the executive order is called this. If anybody wants to look it up, I encourage you to, and to read it through. Executive Order, United States Policy on Pre- and Post-Strike Measures to Address Civilian Casualties in U.S. Operations Involving the Use of Force. That is the name of the executive order. If you want to read it through, it's probably about 10 or 11 pages long, I've heard. I haven't read it through. But that's the name of it. So it's not, it may entail inside of it that the National Guard can patrol the streets and even use force on U.S. citizens. But I see that as going hand in hand with the UN order. So when UN troops come in, they have been given carte blanche to use force on any American citizen that they feel they need to use force on. Any American citizen who's standing in his front yard holding his rifle like he's ready to protect himself and his house, not threatening anybody, but knowing that the UN is about to march down the street and says, I'm going outside, or I'm standing at my front door with my gun in my hand and protecting myself and my family and this and that. And it's like, all right, well, now the UN has carte blanche to come and kick down your door and take you, right? And all that guy was doing was like, oh,
But then
the
again,
Constitution.
exactly, if you're following the Constitution, that guy has every legal right under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights to pull out that firearm and shoot that UN peacekeeper.
Yeah, no, but then all of a sudden he just starts he gets himself killed. Like, but through these orders now, through the Pentagon approving the UN use of force against civilians and this executive order, which could be kind of the same thing. I could be splicing hairs here and not even realize that I am splicing hairs. It could be the exact same thing. But this whole thing is scary because now the UN before wouldn't even patrol our streets, and they're not going to start patrolling our streets. What if there's a Ferguson or a Baltimore situation and it goes on for more than a day? The UN will be deployed and will be there within 24 hours. Like if it's going on for 24 hours, hour 25 or hour 26, the UN's there, and they're trying to spell or quell or whatever the word is. They're trying to
Quell, I
yeah,
think, yeah.
I think it is. They're trying to quell the situation. So, and what happens when people are there with their guns? Well, the UN has a very strong stance on no guns, so they demand you give them your gun, and if you say, well, not,
Oh
they
yeah,
say,
they're the only
take us
ones
to
allowed to
court.
have guns.
All they're going to say is, take us to court. Take us to court. And if you say, no, you're not taking my gun, then that's when they arrest you. And if you fight and you try to shoot them, then they got like a little mini army right there, a little peacekeeping army that's going to just kill you. And all of a sudden you're one less patriot and one less constitutionally aware person that's out there in the world, right?
Makes sense.
True. All right, back to the UN peacekeepers. I mean, like I said, this is Africa, so it's not here, but it definitely could happen here. And then I got off on a little rant. Rwanda, 1994. Peacekeepers show up, genocide. All right. Srebrenica, 1995. Peacekeepers show up, massacre. Think about it, Brian. Do we want peacekeepers showing up here? And it's like it would be treated by our media. The media, mainstream media, would treat it as though it was some sort of accident, or the people that these people were attacking the UN troops, and the UN troops had to defend themselves, and that was the only. And the people attacking the UN troops will be demonized by the media, and everybody will be like, "Well, those people."
Okay,
are not
how
dead,
many
they deserve
years
to die."
now have myself and I don't know, pretty much all of YouTube's been talking about
What is it, Charlie?
upcoming civil war in this country? What if it's not so much civil war that Jade Helm and Vigilant Guard and all these training drills and all these military vehicles we're seeing being transferred? What if it's not civil war with the blacks and the whites and the police and the citizens? What if it's the Americans and the patriotic Americans versus the UN? What if that's what they're amping up for?
The patriotic Americans, we're not going to band together, man. I really think that you think, and a lot of people think this, and I can understand why, because of what our country is founded on. But we don't have the unity. I'm sorry, if you drove through most communities and you saw people out barbecuing, talking to each other, hanging out, having a block party and this and that, you could almost say, well, you know what? That's possible. But we don't have that unity. We have groups on Facebook. Well, what happens when Facebook goes down and all electronics go down?
Well, those
you got
groups
the people
get
you know
invaded
around
by
you.
trolls all the time.
You got the people you know around you, and that's not too many people that you know are aware and you know that you can trust in that type of a situation that's not going to try and rob you for your food or some other sustenance or some shit. You know what I'm saying?
I almost forgot about that. Something Bernie Trump had,
I almost forgot about the chat.
something Bernie Trump had said earlier before he left was they banned selfie sticks and bicycles at the DNC, and it's not just at the DNC; it's in the security zone, which stretches out very far from the DNC event grounds. So you'll have like a kid riding his bike down the street. He's technically legally
Are you
under the
about to say
rules of the
kid
DNC.
riding his bicycle down the street with his selfie stick out, like taking a
No,
picture of himself?
if he's riding down the street, or if there's like some random person comes out of their house with a selfie stick or an umbrella with a metal tip or a pepper spray can.
I don't think they're going to get arrested.
The Secret Service has the legal right to roll in on them because these are all in the.
They would be stopped. Like I think there would be plenty. There's going to be plenty enough police down there that if somebody's riding through with a bike, they're going to be like, yo, can't go through here. Sorry, no bikes in here. They're not going to be like, well, let that guy go through and fuck him if the Secret Service tackles
Well, no,
there.
the problem is though, you have people who live in Philadelphia who probably I haven't heard the local news mention the entire list of things that are banned in the quote security zone or event zone or whatever they're calling it.
But do you know where it's at?
I believe the DNC itself is being held down by FDR Park.
No, the DNC itself is a convention. It's being held at the Wachovia Center, right?
Okay, the Wachovia Center.
The Wachovia Center is a sports complex with nothing but parking lots around.
And how many? It's not that far north of there that it starts in housing.
But the security zone, I guarantee you, if it's going to be in housing, it
No,
might be in
the security
a block
zone,
or two of housing.
dude,
There's not that much housing.
In Cleveland, the security zone was mad miles in a radius around the area.
Then maybe they'll put up signs. Who knows?
So I
Maybe
mean,
they already
you have
signs
people
up.
who live there that want to go bike riding, that that are worried about walking down the street at night, so they're carrying some pepper spray in their purse. A woman coming out works at a bar, a woman that works at a bar or a strip club at night who has to walk home or catch a cab.
I think it's probably been that way with all DNCs, though. In all reality, I'm sure there's been neighborhoods affected, and I'm sure in all reality, maybe with the exception of a few incidents for each DNC and each RNC.
I mean, really, you're banning selfie sticks?
I agree with that. Selfie stick could be
umbrellas.
used as a weapon.
Umbrellas.
Well, umbrella can be used as a weapon, or you could be the penguin
What
and
if,
have
okay,
an
what if
umbrella
it's
gun.
friggin' raining?
What if you got an umbrella gun? What if you're the penguin? My name is Oswald Cobblepotch. You know what I'm saying?
Then you're perfect for a Hillary supporter, I guess, at that point. Yeah, Alex Jones. Bernie had said Alex instigated it all. He lunged at the guy. I can believe that.
Bernie Trump!
I can believe that. I can really believe that.
Before we get into Alex, because I
Alex Jones
definitely
invading the Young Turks.
I definitely want to touch on that. But before
we're
we
going to get to that.
Brian,
We're going to get into that.
I don't know how much live time we got left on Spreaker. I'm sure we got plenty on YouTube.
Oh yeah, we still got a good
All right, we got
25 minutes on
We got
YouTube.
348 left on Spreaker. I want to touch on this, and then we'll get into what do you call it, Alex Jones and the Young Turks debacle at the RNC, which I found fascinating. I also wanted to touch on Milo Yiannopoulos. If you know about him, I'm sure you do. You probably heard his interview on Alex Jones talking to the guy who got banned from Twitter. The
I
conservative
actually
faggot.
haven't watched much Alex Jones.
He calls himself the conservative faggot, and he's a conservative and a faggot. So it's pretty fitting. It's pretty fitting, and he's kind of an ass. Honestly, he's kind of an ass. He's me when I try and make a joke of some things. Times 10, but also 10 times smarter sounding, I guess.
And I guess if you were gay.
Yeah. Also, if I was gay, that's what I'm saying. I guess what I meant to say is he's me, the gay.
Nick
version
is
of it.
not really gay, ladies and gentlemen.
No, not really gay. But I did invite Milo Yiannopoulos onto the show. I'm sure he probably will decline to come onto the show. But I wanted him to come on the show to talk about gender roles and.
And since we're live, we invited Mark Dice on the show to basically trash Mark Dice. So if you're watching Mark Dice, come on. We want to talk to you,
Yeah,
man.
he said fuck
We
Mark
want
Dice,
you
everybody wants
here.
to come on. But,
That's good. I don't care. Bring him on. Let him. I hope he's pissed. I want to interview him when he's in the worst
I'd
mood
like to
possible.
start a little beef with some other YouTube channel that's got a lot of views. Is it fucked up to say? Yes. But I want to start a beef with another YouTube channel that's got a lot of views, and they're an ass. And they're just, they know they're somewhat of an ass, and it's okay. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people that we deal with who have a lot more views than us, I don't want to start beef with them because they're not asses. They're trying to really do the right thing, and they're trying.
Are you going to start beef with Alex Jones or with
No.
Shank Huger?
What? No, somebody like Mark Dice, that douchebag. Who cares? Anyway, all right. Listen to this, Brian. You got to hear about this before we go.
Mark Schildice. Let's get it right.
You got 2 minutes, Brian. Listen. 47-year-old Charles Kinsley, mental health worker, was trying to return an autistic kid back to the mental health home that he was taking care of this kid at. He was his caregiver, okay? A caretaker. Listen to this, Brian. And this, many people don't really understand this about the story. They just see the picture of the guy, the old black guy on the ground with his hands up in the air. He's like, how the hell did he get shot? All right, right?
Okay.
This dude was only trying to return an autistic kid, and the autistic kid, if you know autistic kids, he was being loud and very disruptive and causing a scene. And when the police showed up, and this guy's trying to get him back and trying to, I don't think he was dragging him back, but he was pulling him and getting him to come back to the home or whatever. And the kid's making a scene the whole time. Well, somebody called the cops and said that it was 2 men fighting, and that the one man had a gun and was reloading his gun as he spoke. So the cops flew up to the scene, and that's all the information that they had. and it was the autistic kid with a toy truck in his hand, and that was what the guy saw as a gun. But when the cops pulled up, they saw a white dude fighting with a black dude, and the white dude screaming and yelling like something like kind of nonsensical, but it seemed like he might have been being attacked. So they tell the black dude to get down on the ground. Tell both of them, I guess, to get down on the ground. And the black dude gets down on the ground, and Mr. Charles Kensley gets down on the ground, lays there, puts his hands up in the air. Of course, he's on his back. It should probably be on his belly. But he lays there on his back, puts his hands up in the air, and says, "I'm a mental health worker. I am taking care of this kid. He is autistic. That's what's going on here." And like 10 or 15 seconds later, some cop shot him 3 times.
You know, I did
Shot
hear
at him
about
3
that.
times and
It's
hit
just
him
there
once
was
in
so
the leg.
much going on. I did hear about that.
All right. That's it. Thanks. I'm done. No. What do you call it? That's Spreaker saying thanks. I'm done.
Oh.
It's been fun, Spreaker. I don't think we can do another live show. We're gonna try. We'll just go.
We'll see if that works. See if we can continue live on Spreaker.
We're live back on just on the YouTube.
But we're
channel.
still live here on where we live to on YouTube.
Yeah. So I'll speak up. All right. Look. Basically, that cop said that he couldn't explain why he shot Kensley. When he was asked, the Kensley literally said, "Why did you shoot me, dude? I had my hands up in the air. I told you what was going on." And he's like, I don't know. It's like there's some cops that are way too, there needs to be a test for trigger happiness in cops. How come we don't have that
on that topic? I'm not going to stay on it for too long, but it came out this week. The Inspector General announced after the investigation into everything that happened in Oregon back in January.
Yeah.
He announced after that he was going to continue looking into it, and came out this week. I think they said it's 4 members of the FBI's super elite HRT team, the hostage rescue team. They're like the special forces of special forces of special forces of the FBI. 4 of them are could be formally indicted for lying and about the murder of Lavoy Finicum, because it came out that there was a lot more shots fired than were initially reported by the FBI and other agencies, and they could be formally indicted for lying and trying to cover up for the guy that fired the bullet through the roof that shattered the window that caused Lavoy to jump out of the truck in the first place.
Yeah, it's losing relevancy, but
it's
still
that's
very important.
big. If they fired into that truck before he got out, then that was cold-blooded murder, because it also
but Brian,
the same report from the Inspector General. But we have audio and video synced of this event.
That's
and
like trying to say Hillary Clinton has been a great, honest woman up to this point in her
here's
life.
the best part.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
also
You're
came
shocked
out.
that she
It
would
also
check
came
your
out this
emails.
week that he was found to have I think it was 3 in the chest, 1 in the head, 1 in the back.
When
They initially said 3 shots were fired. If
But
3
why
shots
are you
were
surprised
fired,
that they lied? Like, that's what blows my mind, is that you're like so surprised that they lied about this, and it's like you knew from the get-go because you were so
yeah, so you can look back at our Oregon episode.
They were lying about it. So why now are you so, I don't say worked up, because you have every right to kind of get worked up
Because
about
if
you were so into
the
it.
Inspector General of the United States, of the U.S. Justice Department, if he turns around and formally indicts these 4 FBI agents, that'll be history-making, and it could start
They're
us
just
on the
people.
right path.
They're just people. That's all it'll be treated as. Is they're just 4 bad eggs, 4 bad apples. That's all they're going to be treated as. 4 bad apples, and that's not indicative of the FBI.
But that could lead others to be less likely to cover up for their teammates in situations like that.
But it could be argued. I'm not trying to. What do you call it? I'm not trying to discredit it whatsoever. But it could be argued that there's been plenty of other situations that have done just that, and actually not turned a bad FBI agent into a good one, but maybe stopped some bad FBI agents from doing certain nefarious acts because they know, well, shit, I may end up actually getting like exposed for this or caught for this. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, whereas before I thought I couldn't get caught.
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
All right, so This is only going to take about 30 seconds. 28 pages of the 9/11 report recently
very
came out.
important.
Damn
Saudis.
It basically confirmed everything I've been telling you all for the past 15 years. Saudi Arabia, everything you've heard in
Saudi
what
Arabia
was
is
it?
gonna
Loose
fucking,
change.
Don't
Was
talk,
that the first?
don't talk trash about them. No, they're gonna fly a fucking drone bomb into your house.
Well,
I'm not talking
they
about
were
a
behind
bomber
9/11.
drone. I'm talking about a China $25 drone. They're gonna fly that with some fucking C4.
Now here's what
through a
kills
window
me.
into your
Here's
house.
what kills me. They
Don't
released the
fuck with Saudi
papers.
Arabia.
This is where I'm kind of.
They'll chop your hands off.
They released these 28 pages. It confirms that Saudi Arabia helped fund 9/11. But there was still a lot in those papers that was still redacted.
Yeah, there's still plenty redacted.
There's
but
a lot
so
of
much
blacked
was-
out stuff there.
Yeah, but literally.
So
for
if
somebody
they're
like-
telling us about the Saudi involvement, what aren't they telling
But
us?
for somebody like me and you, tell me that didn't feel good. To walk in, I walked into our local convenience store. Dude was sitting there reading the paper, had it open to, and it told me it was New York Times or something, and had it open to a page, and the headline at the top said, Saudis involved in 9/11.
Oh,
and I was
yeah.
like, see, motherfucker,
Yeah.
see? And I had never even talked to this dude about 9/11 before, or the Saudi involvement or anything. But I saw him reading it, and I know he's just like, he's a zombie like 98% of everybody else. Maybe not
97, because you got
but-
the 3%ers.
and then maybe not
Okay.
maybe
3%.
90% of the people that are completely unaware that any kind of. But then again, you got to give it to somebody you know. I got to give credit to Brian, and you're gonna be like, shut the fuck up. But I'd rather give somebody like him credit today than I would somebody like Alex Jones. I would much rather give somebody like Michael Moore credit. Alex Jones, 9/11
Dude,
documentary.
I cannot.
Great.
No, you know what? You know who I'll give the credit to? The kid that made Loose Change.
Well, all right, Michael Moore, first 9/11 documentary that came out.
No, Loose Change was the first one. It was
Yeah.
out before Fahrenheit 9/11.
I think that's debatable, Brian. I
Well,
think that's
either way,
debatable.
I'd rather give credit to that kid.
Here's what I'm saying is, and for my timeline, okay, it's only debatable for me maybe, because in my timeline I saw Fahrenheit 9/11 first, before I was ever woken up to anything. And that movie didn't wake me up. It's not powerful enough to really wake you up and shake you and rattle you and be like, holy shit, something's fucking
No,
wrong here.
it's really
But
not.
It drops so many hints. That movie drops so many hints. It doesn't follow through on them and actually tell you really what the full connection is. But it drops so many hints and tells you basically.
I actually
that's my
think
first
Alex
exposure.
Jones's 9/11: The Road to Tyranny was a better documentary than Fahrenheit
What I'm
9/11.
saying is Fahrenheit 9/11 was my first exposure for somebody who wasn't awake at all. Was my first exposure to something that actually told me something different than what mainstream media told me about 9/11. And I was like, wait, what? And like it started a conversation with me going forward to talk about 9/11 just a little bit with some of my friends. I wasn't that interested, but to talk about it. And like, damn, the Saudis were involved. You think the Saudis might have been involved? Because like we don't hear shit about the Saudis. And when you really hear about them chopping off people's hands, it's like, shouldn't we be hearing a little bit more about the Saudis and like how we're
Yeah,
out
well,
to stop
that's
them?
because the
No.
Saudis don't allow us to hear about the Saudis.
Well, exactly. We're
From
buddy-buddy with them.
from what I've heard on from various people out there in the community, like Saudis, if the Saudi ambassador or whatever is driving through Washington D.C. and someone takes a picture of that limo, his bodyguards will get out and be like, delete that picture or smash the camera or
Yeah.
things like that.
I believe it. I don't know, man. This is basically what I was trying to say about Michael Moore. As a filmmaker, at that time, I wasn't going to stumble across any Alex Jones documentary. I wasn't even going to really stumble across Loose Change. I'll explain to you in a second how I did stumble across
You
that.
got like 2
But-
minutes.
Michael Moore, when I listened to Michael Moore, basically this is what happened. I understood that there was something else that went on 9/11. It took me a couple years, and all of a sudden after, it sparked a conversation inside me, or even a conversation started with friends. And I started talking to friends about it, and one of my friends one day said, oh, you gotta check out this movie, Loose Change. You know, my buddy just turned
Yep.
me on to Loose Change, check that shit out. So I went home and watched Loose Change, and I was like, wait, what? And that's when, like, the key unlocked in my head to, like,
See,
think about
I knew there was some.
everything.
I can't say I knew, but
But without Michael
I had
Moore,
a
wouldn't
good
even have
feeling.
started.
I had a
wouldn't
good
have given two
feeling
shits
it was a
about
false
9/11.
flag. A very good feeling it was a false flag. But I hadn't thought about the Saudis or any of that. I just was thinking our government, you know? I was thinking like Bush, Cheney, Halliburton, Cheney, Halliburton. you know?
Well,
then I had a guy, I was living in Willingboro, I had a guy around the block that sold bootleg DVDs, real cheap, real good quality. So I went over there every couple weeks, give me a few movies, new movies that are out. And he's like, he gave me loose change. He's like, yo, when you get a chance, you gotta watch this. After you watch it, give it to somebody else and tell them to watch it. I'm like, what is it? He's like, oh, it's just trust me, just watch it.
Oh,
and then I watched it, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. See, that kind
That
of
was
shit
mind
can be
blowing.
powerful.
And then I thought back to, what was it? The Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, like, something's going on here. This is happening more than once within, a 10-year period.
Some of my favorite documentaries to watch are Oklahoma City documentaries because there's so much time.
Oh, yeah, the ATF was staged right up the street. We're going to go about, now we're down about 9 minutes.
9 minutes? You said 2 minutes.
Yeah, I was
2
giving
minutes
you
ago.
2 minutes because we still got to get on to Alex Jones and Shank Uger.
Yeah,
Uyghur. Ugly. Ogre. Shank Ogre.
Yeah, I don't give Michael more credit because he fucking was my beginning to my journey. Even though it wasn't the best beginning and it took me a few years, it didn't shape me enough. But I'll still give him credit because you know what? That was the first time, and I'm sure that was a movie that I'm sure came out in theaters. It may not have been widespread and in theaters for a long run, but I know it was in theaters. Fahrenheit 9/11, I remember seeing it on the shits when you drove past the movie theater, and people were able to go to see that movie in theaters and find out that the Saudis may have been involved in 9/11. And yes, it took us another 15 years after he made that movie to find out that, or maybe another.
But I'd still
13 or
rather
14.
say it took 15 years after Loose Change came out. But this is difference of opinion. We're allowed to do that here because we're open-minded.
I'm just saying you got to give Michael Moore a little credit because he put out some shit saying about.
And I'm just saying we're
But
really low on time right now.
maybe
We still
Michael
got to
Moore-
talk about Alex Jones and Shank Uger at the RNC.
Maybe Michael Moore is like Bill Cooper. You see what I'm saying? Maybe. All right, Cenk Uygur. Maybe he's like Bill Cooper and not really all that great. It's
shit.
fucked up.
What
That's
the
like a
hell?
shot at Bill Cooper. It's so wrong.
That is wrong. I
But
still love
listen,
Bill
man,
Cooper.
that's a shout out to our last episode of 3NN. You got to check that
True,
shit
yeah,
out.
we looked at
Bill
the
Cooper,
legacy
Hero
of Bill
Hack.
Cooper in that one.
That's one of my favorite episodes to listen to. But Cenk Uygur and Alex Jones. All right, this is what I saw, Brian. And you tell me where I'm wrong.
Did you see the videos I sent you today?
I don't think I looked at the videos you sent.
Okay,
me.
I watched both perspectives. I watched the video Alex Jones put up that showed bits and pieces. Actually, yeah, I guess you could say bits and pieces of that encounter with Cenk Uygur and the rest of that crew. And then I watched the Young Turks video.
Okay.
And theirs was like uncut, straight through that whole segment, but from a different camera angle where you didn't see the guy spitting in Alex's face. But all the audio was there. And what's crazy is the Young Turks version of the video makes the Young Turks look more shameful and hypocritical than the InfoWars video does. For those who don't know, there's debating stories onto why this happened, but Alex Jones walked up onto the Young Turks set at the RNC while they're in the middle of doing their live show and basically tried to take over their show, and the Shank Ogre got really, really pissed, got up in Alex's face, looked like he was about to swing, and whatever his name is, Rob whatever, the guy with glasses, you see him, you can only see this on the InfoWars video, the Alex Jones channel. They had the camera angle. The Young Turks did not have the camera angle, but you can clearly see the guy spit a good amount of liquid into Alex Jones's face. And Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks, who's done several shows on the Young Turks talking about how, we can't shame people for being overweight. I was called fat when I was young, and it sticks with you your life, blah, blah, blah. She's anti-fat shaming, basically. Was sitting there repeatedly on both videos, she can be heard, get off the stage, you fat fuck! You fat fuck! You fat fuck! Over and over again.
I heard her say that once. I heard her say, you motherfucking piece of shit.
Oh yeah, she said a lot of
stuff.
stuff.
A lot of shit. I heard her say
But
fat
how
fuck
are you
once,
gonna
but I didn't hear
be?
her say
How are you
over
gonna
and
be
over and over.
shaming overweight people and then call somebody a fat fuck when that fat fuck is the same size as your fat fuck boss, Shank Uger.
Because she was in a moment of anger. Even somebody who doesn't agree with saying those types of things, yes, it is hypocritical. I'm not saying it's not hypocritical, but in a moment of anger, yeah, I would probably.
I actually think Shank weighs more than Alex.
In that same situation, we had a chick on it was a part of our show, and somebody stormed onto our show. We were trying to do a live show somewhere, and somebody tried to storm onto our show, and she was like, "Miss, like, you be kind to everybody." And this and that.
No, because
but
after
was
Alex
pushing their
Jones
luck,
was
and
escorted
everything
out,
started to get fucking out of hand, and she started saying, "You fucking piece of shit, you fucking ugly ass motherfucker." And she's always talking about you don't call anybody ugly, everybody's beautiful.
Yeah.
She started saying some shit like that. I'd be like, you know what? She gets a pass right now because that motherfucker pissed her the fuck off.
After the event was calmed down and Alex Jones walked away and his crew left that area, the Young Turks are back on the air talking about it. And even Shank's like, yeah, you know, I was a little upset, blah, blah. He's talking a little bit of trash on Alex, but he's calm. Everybody's calmed down. She's still there talking mad trash. That motherfucker, da-da-da.
No, she's not. I watched that video.
Watch the Young Turks video.
I did. I watched the Young Turks video right after they picked up because that's the first
they
thing
did two. They
watch.
did two videos, one right after the other.
Well,
watch them both.
I watched the one video that was like an uninterrupted clip of immediately after the thing ended and they sat back down.
No, she was still pissed and going off.
So immediately after
she's sitting there. She's sitting there in the chair.
Oh yeah, no, she's still pissed off, but she's not screaming and yelling.
She's not screaming and yelling, but she's still cursing out Alex Jones.
That was very out of character for Anna Kasparian to be screaming and yelling. That's not out of character. If you've ever watched any of the Young Turks, and I'm not saying you should, but what I'm saying is if you ever watched any Young Turks, that's not out of character for Anna Kasparian whatsoever to be vulgar and to have strong opinions about somebody, especially if somebody has done something that is like despicable.
But I just think if you're sitting on Media Row at a major political convention, you might want to be a little more toned back.
Yeah, but that could be said all day in that situation for Alex Jones, over and over again for Alex Jones.
True, I don't agree with him sitting there.
That's the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen anybody do.
I don't agree with him sticking the Bill Clinton rape shirt in front of Shank Uger, knowing.
I didn't see that being as big of a deal as Shank Ugar made it, but then again, him coming on to Shank Ugar's show, and that's almost like somebody in like. We've had my neighbor come in here sometimes, and I'm not trying to knock him, but we've had him come in sometimes, and we're in the middle of filming, and he'll be playing on his phone, like playing a song on his phone, or making noise on his phone or some shit. And
or he'll walk up to the microphone and throw in his
input. Come up to the microphone and try and add some shit, and there's almost a sense of like tension. And it's not
without
tension
even
he's here.
He'll walk in and try to add his 2 cents after not even hearing what we were talking about.
We also don't know what his 2 cents is exactly going to be, and we also know he hasn't heard he hasn't been a part of the conversation for the past 25 minutes, so he doesn't really know exactly where we're at in the conversation, and he's kind of making an offhand comment that sometimes doesn't make sense in the context of what we're actually saying.
Very
true. It's like, if somebody were to come onto our show and do that kind of same thing, well, I think we'd probably freak out as well, you know? What I saw was, I saw Alex Jones walk up onto this guy's stage, stand there, and basically say, oh, well, hey, what's going on, Shank Ugar, and trying to just, like, be funny at first. And the whole thing was hilarious at first. But then all of a sudden it got to the point where Alex Jones was just standing there and basically trying to call people over to egg on Shank Ugar and trying to call over Roger Stone to egg on Shank Ugar. And that's where it got out of hand. And Shank Ugar, I give him credit, sat there for a good probably 2 minutes or so, a minute and a half to 2 minutes, and kept his cool and just said, I've been talking about this, Alex. You're sitting here saying I don't talk about none of this. I talk about this, Alex. You're saying that we're Saudi lovers. I'm not a Saudi lover, Alex. I've been talking about the Saudis being a corrupt, political system for a long time now, Alex. You don't know what you're talking about. And Alex Jones just kept on telling him, like, you don't know what you're talking about. I can't even remember what Alex Jones was saying, but he was just egging him on. And he wasn't trying to be like, well, then let's have a talk about this then. Let's debate this. Come on my show one day and debate this. No, it was like just trying to get him more and more riled up and like trying to like aggravate him more and more. So
and Shank did say some damning things to Roger Stone.
Well,
one thing Roger Stone said that I kind of got to give him is well, you keep saying all these things about me, but you never ever contact me to get my point of view. You never get my word. You make up lies about me and don't let me dispute them. Things like that. So, I don't know. I think both the Young Turks crew and the InfoWars crew that were involved in that encounter were kind of both wrong.
I give it way more to Alex Jones, because if it weren't for Alex Jones, none of that would have even happened or even started.
But I don't think it's right to spit in his face.
I do, because I would have punched him in his face. If he would have continued where...
You don't spit in someone's face.
Where you're on my set.
You don't spit in someone's face.
When you're on my set, if you're on my set causing a disturbance and almost trying to basically instigate a fight, I have every right to spit in your face, if not punch you in the face, for not leaving my set when I'm visibly upset and you're basically trying to instigate a fight live on the air on my show. Not going to happen. That's fucked up and that's wrong. That's unprofessional to a whole nother level, a whole nother extent. Do that
Wow.
to MSNBC
This
or
is
some
amazing.
shill station.
I just got to point out, we're over an hour and still live. And the reason I thought we only had an hour was when I was streaming from...
When we live to gets 4 hours. So I get as much streaming time as I want.
Oh, okay. Because when I was streaming from Philly for the Black Lives Matter march a few weeks ago, it would cut out every hour. I would lose...
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure it told me we can go at 1440p for 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
1440p is higher than 1080p. Isn't that crazy? So if we had a badass camera, you could be seeing like the dimples on our faces.
And as our technology improves, you'll be able to hear us better, see us better.
All right, well, look, this is just basically what I wanted to say, all right?
So, yeah, okay, we're not in such a rush. So
Alex Jones,
I'll say Alex Jones, yes. I'll give it to him 70-30.
See, this basically, I wanted to see how the Young Turks reacted after it happened. Because they could have taken the low route, like, they could have all been exactly how Anna Kasparian was and been kind of justified doing it. They could have all been like, fuck him, he's a fucking piece of shit. But they tried to calm themselves down and be as professional as possible, given what just happened. Maybe not Anna Kasparian as much, but if you know Anna Kasparian, she doesn't talk like Little Miss, like I'm a reporter and this and that.
Yeah.
No, she talks like almost like a Jersey chick. It's hilarious. A lot of people fall in love with Anna Kasparian and you think it's just her looks, but if you've ever listened to her talk, it's like, I'm not saying listen to the topics that she talks about and she's so intellectual. No, it's more just like the way that she talks. There's something attractive about it. So it's like, but that's how she talks. That's how she always talks. So even her trashing Alex Jones right there is kind of the norm for her. Maybe she's normally at maybe like a 10 on the crazy scale, and she was at a 15, hovering at around a 15 on after that incident happened. While it was going on, she was up at an 80, like, you fat fuck, like, you know what I'm saying, like, all that shit, that's up at like an 80, but she calmed herself pretty much down, because she didn't interrupt the conversation and wasn't being detrimental to the rest of the show because of her anger.
You know what I found? I don't want to use the word amusing, but it was kind of amusing. While I guess Shanks still had Alex's microphone after he pulled it out of his hand with that, you took over my show, I'm going to take over your show. Yeah. He had the mic for a while. And then when everybody started closing in and it started to get a little out of hand, I guess right before Shanks stood up and took the mic off and everything, you see Leanne McAdoo standing there behind Alex Jones. Can I have the mic back, please? Can I please have Alex's mic, please? I just found that kind of funny, just how she kind of worked up there and grabbed the microphone.
I think what also may have happened, there's a couple things here. I think one thing that may have happened was as that crowd formed, Cenk Uygur sat there and started to realize this isn't Alex Jones's show. We were talking about a whole nother topic, we had a conversation going. Yeah. And our show, I enjoy our show, and I enjoy putting out good content for the people and the fans. He even mentioned that in the video after the thing, like, we do this for you guys, for the fans. And I'm not sitting here saying I'm a huge fan, but I'm somewhat a fan of Alex Jones and somewhat a fan of the Young Turks. Yeah, so to see them battle each other, it's like it kind of it doesn't hurt me because it was fun at first, but then to see to really think about it also as a content creator, as somebody who makes a.
Well, I could say the
makes
same thing
podcasts.
during the Bill Cooper Alex Jones feud or the Mark Dice Alex Jones feud.
No, but this is completely different because, in my mind, look at it this way, Brian, and this is like the guy that spit in Alex Jones' face. All right, I watched him after you told me he did that. I watched him like throughout the whole entire encounter and tried to watch and see when he spit in his face. But when I was watching him, right, this is what I saw. Him sitting back,
page has
not really saying to him. I'm not saying he didn't spit
No,
in the
he
guy's
walked
face.
away. After he did it, he walked way the far out into the crowd, and the InfoWars camera guy goes up to him. You just spit in his face? Did you just spit in his face? And the guy's just like, oh, I'm over here. I'm over here.
Well, if you're
And it's
talking
on
about-
camera 2 seconds earlier, and the camera
So you
never
must be
cuts.
talking
It's no
about a
editing.
different guy with glasses that was he maybe a part of the Young Turks production crew and not one of the hosts? Because the host guy
You
that
might
wears
be.
glasses didn't leave the stage.
No, this guy,
He
no, it
didn't
wasn't the
walk
guy
away
that was
from
on the stage during the broadcast. This guy, after Alex was up there messing with Shank, this guy came walking in through the crowd. Look, it's Alex Jones! And he
Well,
got up
maybe
there, and that's when everybody started
Well,
getting
maybe
going.
that guy wasn't working for the Young Turks, or maybe even if that guy does work for the Young Turks, maybe he was offended by the whole entire situation himself, or he doesn't work for the Young Turks, but he's a fan of the Young Turks.
Well, because we
and
don't
he
like
doesn't
copyright
Alex
issues,
Jones.
we're not playing Alex Jones's video on our show, so I'll show it to you after we're off the air. But
Well, this is what honestly, I kind of like, it put me in the moment when I saw this, because I thought about like me and you, right? If somebody were to come in on this show, and even if it was me, you, and Rich sitting here, or if we were doing 3NN, right? If somebody were to come into this show, and we not invited somebody on the show, let's just say kind of the same situation, we're out at some event that we know there's going to be a lot of people at, and maybe even a lot of other shows that we could network with, and we're expecting it to be a good time and nothing but really a
and
positive
Alex
thing.
Jones comes walking up
Not
on
Alex Jones, okay? But let's just say Dallas Goldbug shows up. For some reason, Dallas Goldbug decides to show up, and he gets up on and he walks onto our stage.
Dallas
at this convention
Goldbug is
or
not
whatever.
welcome on my stage.
Okay, but listen, all right, that's what Young Turks has said many times about Alex Jones. Okay, and even though they've also
Well,
said he can.
I
come
will
up
I will
anytime,
throw out
but-
there, Alex Jones claims, and the Young Turks dispute this, so it's he said, she said. Alex Jones claims that somebody from the Young Turks told him, because he'd been on their show a few times, and they've been on his show a few times. They don't exactly get along.
He's only been on the Young Turks once.
Well, he claims he was told, yeah, just go up and say hi, they won't mind.
Yeah, see, I think that's complete and total bullshit because nobody would do that during their production. Anybody who's with that production would not.
I also found
Hey,
that sketchy, just considering the Young Turks were live on the air at the time.
Yeah,
I don't. That
nobody
would
would do that. That would be like me saying, like, yeah, come in and fuck up our show. Like, no, like that would be like that would piss me off so much. Even if I like wanted somebody to do that, it would still piss me off so much. Like I couldn't allow that. But that's what I was thinking about with that situation. If we were in a convention, all right, we're doing a live show. Me, you, and Rich, we're jamming along. We're having a good time. We're about half hour, 45 minutes in. We know we're our time is winding down, but we're on such a good roll and on such a good topic. All of a sudden, Dallas Goldbug walks up, and he's like,
Hey, look at you, motherfucker! It's Rick Moranis. See, that's why he dipped off the planet, because it's a government conspiracy to turn him into a COINTELActivist. And see, that's what he is now. So Rick Moranis doesn't make movies anymore because he's a COINTELActivist who calls himself Nick Steele. I know who you are. I know who you are. Calls himself Nick Tesla. I know who you are. I know who you are. And I'm like,
And there are times where Nick really does look like a young
know.
Rick Moranis.
but
It is
that's
scary.
what I'm saying. In that situation, Brian, we would probably try and keep our cool up to a certain extent. We're a little more Jersey and a little more short fused, but we would try and keep our cool up to a certain extent. But there would come a point where we realize, it dawns on us, one of us, that he's on our stage, he's on our set, and he's trying to take over our show. And no matter what, yeah, we can banter back and forth with him here. But when it comes down to it, this isn't his show. He has no right to be standing here and be like trying to take over our show. Get the fuck off my fucking stage. Get the fuck away from my fucking show. And it's like Cenk Uygur, I give him credit, because he didn't get up and like that's what you're sitting here saying, well, it was obvious that Cenk Uygur like wanted to fight, got up like he wanted to fight Alex Jones. No,
When
he
he
did
finally
not.
got up, he looked like he wanted to take a
He got
swing.
up.
He got
he
angry.
restrained himself.
That's like saying
yes.
everybody that gets
But
up
it looked
with
like
an
he was
angry
going
look on
to,
their
and then he
face is
caught
gonna
himself.
fight somebody. No,
And I can understand why. I can understand why he would want to.
What I
honestly.
saw, and
I
this
agree
is
in that
why
situation.
I'm giving him credit is because what I saw is most people would get up and probably be going to hit him, or at least be wanting to hit him. What I saw was Cenk Uygur get up upset and get up angry, but also felt like Alex Jones is hovering over him right now and is almost like trying on his set trying to take over his show, but two is like hovering over him while Cenk Uygur sits there kind of like the little boy being looked down on by Alex Jones, who thinks he's like some big bad wolf or some shit, who's come in and stormed on his show. So Cenk Uygur said, you know what, finally had enough and was like, you know what, this motherfucker's not walking away. He's going to continue to try and do shit. He's pulling out this Clinton shirt, this Clinton rape shirt, which he might believe, or Cenk Uygur might believe is bullshit. I might kind of disagree with him there. But to still do that on Cenk Uygur's show, where they don't talk about that kind of deep conspiracy at all. They talk about conspiracy. They talk about conspiracy that's kind of somewhat shared and somewhat open knowledge. May not be shared on mainstream media, but somewhat open and shared knowledge, not conspiracies that are a little more under the rug or have been swept under the rug and are harder to really, or that you can lose your mind or go down the rabbit hole. And those type of conspiracies they don't touch on. So bringing out a Bill Clinton rape T-shirt, that's kind of just fucked up, because that's trying to take your format and overlay it on top of our show. You know what I'm saying? That would be Dallas Goldbug coming in and throwing a Rick Moranis shirt on me and saying, here, put this on, and trying to put it on.
It was more
freaked out.
It was more because Cenk Uygur actually kind of liked Bill Clinton too. So you throw that rape shirt there saying Clinton's a rapist. Yeah, we know he was, but
yes,
it's still.
I was under this impression for a long time, Brian. I was under the impression.
It'd be like if somebody came in and put a shirt on me that says Bill Cooper is a drunk.
Well, look, I was under the impression that the Young Turks were Democrats. I was under this impression for
That's
a
what
long
I
time.
thought too. Yeah,
that's what I really thought, and that's why I got upset when I saw Cenk Uygur getting upset.
I thought they were like far left neoliberals.
Exactly, they're not even. I don't want to say they're not even close, because they lean more towards Democrat, but they also say how it's all bullshit and how it's all. Everybody's saying. I don't say everybody, but anybody who's even halfway intellectual and smart out there is saying this is all bullshit and it's all rigged and it's obviously like a two-party system that we need to get away from, and there's obviously corruption on both sides, and they talk about the corruption. They talked about how Hillary's a criminal and there should be no even chance of her being elected as president. So it's not like they're huge Hillary fans. And yes, now that it comes down to Trump and Hillary, they debate the facts about Trump and Hillary and what Hillary has said and this and that, and then they don't talk about, well, no matter what, Hillary's a criminal. They don't say that every single time they talk about Hillary. That doesn't mean that they haven't talked about Hillary being a criminal. So, like, that's what I realized is there's, I guess, a misconception about the Young Turks is that they don't touch on anything. They're very PC about what they'll talk about. And Alex Jones, when he came on there, I almost felt like that's what Cenk Uygur was getting the impression that Alex Jones was almost attacking his show live and in person, attacking his show and accusing them of being PC and sucking up to the establishment and not willing to talk about any truth and this and that.
I think he
called that we do talk about this.
I don't know if it was him.
Not like you do.
It was either him, Biggs, or Leanne McAdoo. I don't know which one, but apparently one of them called Anna Kasparian a Jihad Jane.
Yes. She talked about that. And that's fucked up to like say that kind of shit, because it's like they're not, and that's slander and libel, because it's not even close to what they are. And, like, if you're going to attack somebody, and then to have somebody like fucking Roger Stone with you, who the fuck is Roger Stone? A political advisor to Trump? To Trump? What has Trump done on a international or a quasi-political level to help the world or do anything in the world on a quasi-political level? What has Trump done up to this point? Up to the
you built casinos?
Nothing. So what is his political advisor like? If Trump was involved in any kind of politics or anything, or even was like known as a major donor to many high-level politicians, well, then maybe it's a little bit different. But he's said that he's donated to a lot of the politicians in the past, and he's donated basically to the establishment in the past. But I've yet to really see, and maybe I'm wrong, but I've yet to really see actual proof and evidence of that, and exactly how much. Because I highly doubt that he was
donating any more than $1 million a shot. And if you're donating to one of these giant people, then $1 million is not a lot of money. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Maybe it wasn't $1 million. Maybe it probably was because he did it through a Trump corporation. But still, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Oh.
That's what kind of gets me is that Trump and Hillary they're both bad. And I see the Young Turks talking about that.
I say they're both bad, but I think the Democratic Party overall is far. Well, both parties are controlled. It's like the left arm and the right arm of the same body. But it seems like the Republican arm has more people that really want things to be the way they're supposed to be in this country, and the Democratic Party has the more corrupt people in it. It seems.
I think it just seems that way right now, but I think it's...
Well, naturalnews.com reports mass exposure to neurodevelopmental poisons giving rise to generation of young Democrat voters who can't think critically about anything.
That's true, but I think there's also, I don't say as many young, but there's many Republican voters out there who can't really think about anything, or who can't do any critical thinking. You know what I'm saying? It's on both sides. Like, just like saying, it's both hands of the same body. You know what I'm saying? Or two fingers on the same hand. It's the same thing, man. Like, both you'll find that on both sides. Yes, I do see it with what I see, and that's why I want to bring on Milo Yiannopoulos, is because I see with this whole PC movement that's going on, and that you can't offend certain people and you can't say certain things. Well, we pride ourselves, especially in this country, on our ability to understand comedy. And comedy allows you to bust on somebody and to make fun of somebody. And there's something called parody. And you're allowed to even make fun of copyrighted content if it's a parody. Because we understand that parody is important in this country. And it's important, just like I understand, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but I like to do it every now and then, or every show once, right? But I understand levity is important, and we have to understand that we're killing comedy. And when we kill comedy, where are we going to be? You know what I'm saying? Is comedy going to resurrect as Ow My Balls, and that's all comedy is? You know what I'm saying? Think about it, Brian.
I don't think. But here's the thing with Ow My Balls. I don't know that was meant to be a comedy show.
That's a comedy.
I think it was just meant to be a show, because the people.
Hitting the balls.
Think about it. In Idiocracy, the people were so dumb. That could be a normal show. That could be our.
Every show but the news is comedy.
What's like a normal show today? I don't know. I don't watch sheeple shows. Like, I guess The Walking Dead, you could say, Game of Thrones, things like that.
I don't know.
That in the future, that could be Ow My Balls, because the intelligence level has dropped that far in that movie. They wouldn't understand a show like The Walking Dead or Game of Thrones.
Well, here's also the thing. Our intelligence level will continue to decline, especially in this country, okay?
Oh, yeah, but Common Core education at its best.
Well, here's my thing, Brian. Computer advancement, Moore's Law. Computers are just getting better every year. Better and better, like,
yes.
by leaps and bounds every year.
Yes, yes.
Right now, artificial intelligence is on literally the horizon. We're seeing the sunrise of artificial intelligence. Will humanity live to see the sunset of artificial intelligence, or will humanity face its sunset before artificial intelligence even reaches noon? You know? I don't know.
Interesting question.
It is an interesting question.
But the only way to answer that is to determine whether artificial intelligence is going to go the way of Terminator or...
Well, more and more we let computers think for us, and we're even more and more...
Well, yeah, look at Jade Helm. It was run by an AI software.
Well, look at something like
the
Pokemon
Jade 2.
Go. Pokemon Go is basically turning people... is basically taking where your brain used to think used to think about play, and especially even if you're playing a video game at home, you have to like process all the information. Now all of a sudden, it's like your brain, the sense of play is being ported into. You're so focused on the screen, you don't really know what's going on around you, and that's your sense of play.
You literally don't.
Watching the
People
world around
walk
you
into
that's
glass
around
doors
you on a little screen, and like your play is digitized now. It's like
here's how bad it's gotten. Okay, here's how bad it's gotten. I have a.
That made no sense, did it?
No, not really. But I know someone that works at the Boys and Girls Club up in Mercer County,
Oh,
right?
you too? I know somebody too.
Yeah,
One
okay,
of the
we know the
coolest
same
black guys
guy.
I know. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, well, he's telling me that,
His black life matters.
yes. Well, you're saying others don't?
I'll
Now
tell
you
what.
sound racist.
No, the child rapist, I'm sorry, if he's black, his life don't matter.
What if he's white?
His life don't matter.
What if he's Indian?
His life don't matter.
What if he's Chinese?
Because he's a fucking child rapist.
There
No
you
matter
go.
what,
Thank
a
you.
child
That's what I'm
rapist.
getting at.
So you can't just say, oh, all black lives matter, because you know
But-
what? Sometimes there are black people that have been killed by cops
Man, Jim.
that are murderers.
But
No.
anyway, what Eric was telling
No.
me is one of the kids that works up there.
We should treat
I don't
people by the
know
color
if
of
I don't know
their
if the
blood.
kid works there
Yeah.
or if he's just there for the day or whatever. But Eric says the kid has an app that he put on his phone where he could just sit in a chair and the app makes the GPS think he's walking and he's sitting in a chair playing Pokemon Go all day.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into that tomorrow on 3NN, even
Yeah.
though it'll come out on Wednesday.
Well, we might stream it. We don't know yet.
Brian may stream it. You're hearing it now, live and on the air. No. We'll touch on that tomorrow, Brian. We've got some great
Yeah,
Pokemon
tomorrow
stuff
on
to get into.
3NN we're doing the Pokemon Go totally, completely exposed. This isn't going to be like a little 5-minute YouTube clip. This is going to be in depth.
Or just Pokepocalypse.
Pokepocalypse. It is Pokepocalypse.
Of course, Brian.
And you never
Hashtag copyright, trademark, Pokepocalypse, 3NN podcast.
registered trademark.
Brainstorming podcast, where we lied to, registered trademark, up your ass, around the corner.
Speaking of Pokemon,
Notebook, lemonade.
we last week in Philadelphia, or was it the week before? My days are running
It
together.
was last Friday.
Last Friday in Philadelphia, there was a Pokemon Go rally thing at the park, and
Yeah.
Nick got some good interviews.
I
and
did.
They're going to be uploaded to the channel eventually.
They have transferred from the camera to the computer. I now have software on the computer to edit that shit.
Let's see, we interviewed, let's see,
maybe
who
within
was
a
it? There
day
was
or
a
two.
gentleman who does not play Pokemon Go. We talked to him about it.
He had a cool beard.
It was you got the 3 kids that were like in love and obsessed with Pokemon Go.
Yeah, they were kind of zombied out, but you know what? More power to them. They were
And
friendly
didn't you
as
say there was
shit.
another one at some point you got?
I tried to interview a squirrel. He wasn't having it. We tried to interview a dog. I don't think the owner was having it. I did get a couple other people. I'm pretty sure we got a couple other people on the street. A couple other people on the street by City Hall talking about it. We found people everywhere playing it. We were walking down the
Yeah,
street.
the entire city was playing it.
I'm walking down the street. Listen to this. I'm walking down the street talking, and I'm talking to Brian, and both him and Eric are on their phones, looking down at their phones. And I'm like, "What, you guys playing Pokemon Go?" And all of a sudden, I'm looking over at them. They're on my right-hand side. I'm not even realizing some kid rode up on his skateboard right next to me and got off his skateboard and started walking with his skateboard, looking at his phone, like playing Pokemon Go, walking directly next to me, like right by my side. And as I said to Brian and Eric, "You guys playing Pokemon Go?" This kid, out of the blue, scared the shit out of me, is like, "Yeah, I'm playing that shit right now." And just like moved up and like kept walking like past me and shit. It was the creepiest thing ever.
So from then on, our entire walk, this is when we were leaving. We were on our way back to catch the train, or actually we drove. We were on our way back to your truck. And how many people, you just started randomly the entire walk after that. Pokemon Go? Pokemon Go? You playing Pokemon Go? I couldn't believe how many people like, yeah, we're playing. Yeah,
There was
I'm playing it, I'm
the
playing it.
percentage was still pretty high, but it was very high.
The further away we got from the rally
Yeah,
area,
yeah,
the less it...
But there were
But it
also
was-
like hotspots. It almost seemed like there was hotspots where you'd see 2 or 3 people.
Well, because there was probably a Pokestop or a rare Pokemon was there.
I don't know.
I mean, it's great that people are getting out and walking, but if you're just walking like this and you're not, you could get hit. People get hit by a car. People could end up on a railroad track. And what happens when Charmander appears in the middle of the Atlantic?
I don't know, Brian.
What happens when Pikachu's on track 13 down at 30th Street Station?
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully they have that kind of figured out. We'll
And-
get into that on 3NN, Brian.
We're going to
I
get
wanna
into a
touch
lot
on
in 3NN. I'm going to get into what's behind it and the companies who are behind it. I'm going deep on 3NN tomorrow.
I'm going
but
deep onto
What
the,
I do got to
the
talk
nuttiness
about it, though,
surrounding
is the 15-year-old kid in North Carolina who him and his buddy are having a sleepover, and It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and they decide to play some Pokemon Go, and they notice there's a rare Pokemon nearby. I don't know which one it was, but they said it was a rare one.
Okay.
And they're trying to get it, and it looks like it's in the neighbor's yard. Okay, they're looking all over the neighbor's yard, and they're getting closer to the house. Okay, it must be in the house. And this kid's looking around, trying to find a window to get into the house to get this Pokemon. Turns out the woman who lives there was an elderly woman. Her husband's deceased. All she knows is someone's trying to break in her bedroom window at 1 in the morning. She shot the kid twice. He died in the hospital.
Yep, I believe it.
All to catch a Pokemon.
Now you're giving spoilers for tomorrow. Don't give spoilers for tomorrow.
I'm not. That's nothing about what I'm talking about
But
tomorrow.
that's like everything of what I'm talking about tomorrow. Nothing but stories of the fucked up shit that's happened in that last week and a half since Pokemon Go has been out. All the fucked up shit that's been happening. So don't give any more stories.
Are you going to talk about Uber?
Huh? No, stop!
You know
Stop!
about
You're trying
Uber?
now. No, I don't want to get into it, but I'm sure it'll be part of my list.
Just
sure it is.
if anybody uses Uber, you have the Uber app on your phone. If you're a Pokemon Go player, just take one of those Uber Pokemon Go rides. I'm serious, they exist.
Yes, they do.
I'll tell you more about that tomorrow.
Yes, they do. So
And that's where we're at in this country. We're at the point where people are paying Uber to catch Pokemon.
yeah, that's where we're at. But
And here's the thing: they're so obsessed looking down at their Pokemon that they don't know that the Turkish military tried to overthrow the government. They don't know about people getting shot in Germany and Dallas
They
and
know about it a little
Nice
bit.
and
They know about it a little bit. They just don't care that much because Pokemon Go is entertaining and that stuff is depressing. And you know what? They're already living somewhat of a depressing life deep down inside, and they don't want to have to admit it to themselves. So you know, Pokemon Go is a nice escape from that depressing inside. I'm telling you, that's what it is, Brian. It's not that they're just willfully, a lot of them are willfully, but it's more of that it's finally an outlet where they don't have to sit on the couch. Goodbye. Fucking, what do you call it?
oh
The Spreaker podcast broadcast is over for the night.
okay, so we're off Spreaker. We're still on YouTube.
We're going to have to wrap it up here. I'm
But,
fucking sweating on.
Yeah, it's getting late. We've been on for a while, but one thing I gotta say, I gotta give mad props to Dabu7 and B Rich, who were out in the trenches all week at the RNC, streaming live, showing us everything. And B Rich, I don't know what happened. I don't know the full story. I wasn't there, and I'm sure Eric knows a lot more than I do. But as I understand it, somehow, for some reason, the Secret Service CAT team decided they need to track B Rich, and they started following him around. And the only reason anyone found out was Dabu took a break from streaming and was watching B Rich's live stream while listening to the police scanner. And they're talking about this guy. Okay, yeah, we got to get the CAT team on this guy. Yeah, keep them on him all day. Follow this guy. And they're listening to they're talking where the guy's going. They're describing what he's wearing. Yeah, he just went in the bathroom. Okay, he just came out of the bathroom. Dabu's watching the stream from B Rich. Wait, that's what he just went in the bathroom. Wait, he just came out of it. And they realized that B Rich from Underground World News was being tracked by a Secret Service CAT team.
Alright, but if he ain't doing nothing wrong,
He ain't doing shit. He's live streaming. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe he's eating a hot dog. I don't friggin' know, but
I don't
he
know.
definitely wasn't posing a threat to anybody.
It is crazy. It is crazy. Who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe they thought he was posing a credible threat.
And I will say, since we're talking about this crazy week we've had, Trump gave an epic speech. I'm not going to really get into it right now because I'm tired and it's late, but you can find it on YouTube. Just search for Trump's speech from the RNC, and oh
Epic,
my God.
Epic, if, depending on your perspective, epic. Because it was not epic to me. It was the first ever speech I've heard Trump give while he was on his presidential campaign. The first ever speech I've heard him give where he just read off the teleprompter. It was almost obvious that he was reading off the teleprompter because he was calm and he was making somewhat of sense. And the only time that Trump makes sense is when he's reading somebody else's words. Or maybe not somebody else's words, but written down words. And I did not find it as inspiring or epic as Brian did. I found it more down to earth than I've ever heard Trump before, but which is very scary to hear because I
I am very critical and very skeptical of the Trump message. And to hear him sound sane makes me think that there's people out there that are going to believe that maybe now he finally is becoming sane and we should vote for him. And I'm not saying, we should vote for him and therefore, vote for him so that Hillary doesn't win, because I don't want Hillary to win. I don't want either of them to win. I don't want Trump to win. I don't want Hillary to win. I think they both suck. I think it's time we give up on this fight.
I think no matter which one of them gets in, we're screwed.
Exactly. I think we're screwed.
But,
people say Hillary has the better chance of nuking us to shit or getting us into a situation where
I'd agree with
get
that.
nuked to shit. Well, in all reality, we're already on the path where no president is going to change whether or not we're going to end up getting nuked to shit. There's no Trump, no Hillary, nobody. Maybe not even Ron Paul at this point. Ron Paul's our only hope, and Ron Paul's sitting at home making videos that nobody's watching. And that's what's sad right now. The dude that could have saved our country, and the dude that we should have been cheering for and talking about his epic speech at the RNC is Ron Paul, the presidential candidate that's going to take on the establishment, the real guy that would have taken on the establishment. People say, well, we don't have Paul anymore. The best thing we got is Trump. Well, you can't be. If you were a Ron Paul supporter, and you can't be a Trump supporter because their ideologies completely are completely different on so many levels. And Ron Paul has come out and said, I will never, ever, ever support Donald Trump or give Donald Trump my recognition or whatever, my endorsement for presidential candidate.
Yeah, I just got to. I got to real quick. I got to let Creeksvolk know. He says Pokemon Go is probably used by an AI that map out in 3D everything on Earth to have a tactical advantage, especially in urban warfare. You're along the right path. Watch 3NN tomorrow. It'll be around. What time are we doing? 11 or 12?
Around 12. Yeah.
12 noon Eastern time. Maybe around 12:30 it'll probably start.
I don't know I don't know if I would give us that much credit technologically. I don't know if we're that evolved or that advanced.
No. He's along the right path, but
I would almost say if you've watched some of our alien shows where